life, I wanted to be able to do one thing better than anybody else and was very unsuccessful. And then I had my accident and I thought, you know, maybe I can be the best quadriplegic on a respirator that ever lived. And then, wouldn't you know it, Christopher Reeve goes out and breaks his neck. And I'm in competition with Superman. I worry a little bit about how I'm going to be perceived by others when, especially when I go out in public. I like to wear a ball hat almost everywhere I go because my head's very sensitive, but Joanne will hardly ever let me do it. She says it makes me look too conspicuous. And I certainly wouldn't want to look conspicuous. The other day, we went to this elementary school, and as we were leaving, we were going through the playground, and on our way to the parking lot, a group of 5-year-olds were having recess, and they saw me in this wheelchair, and they just came and surrounded me. 5-year-olds are the greatest. They are so open. I guess we could all learn a big lesson from little children about how to react to people that have a little bit of a physical problem. But they surrounded me and they were saying, "Hey, mister, what happened to you? What's that hose hanging out of your neck? And how does this chair work? And what is this all about?" And there was this little kid that was kind of hanging around the edge, and I knew that he wanted to ask me something, and he just couldn't quite get his courage up, and finally he got up real close to me, and he looked me right in the eyes and he said, "Hey, mister, what happened to your face?" And I thought, my face? I thought it was the only part of me that even halfway worked. And I tried to run over the kid. You know, even though my health is very good, Joanne still insists on taking me to the doctor every once in a while for a checkup. And so we go, and they do blood work, and the nurse gets the needle ready to take my blood, and I always ask her, "Is this going to hurt?" And, she pats me on the arm and says, "Well, it'll probably sting just a little bit." Well, as they get done examining me, and they usually tell Joanne, "Well, Mrs. Rushton, bring him back in 6 months or 6,000 miles, whichever comes first." A while back, I was getting into my modified van, and there's an open space by the driver's seat so that I can sit by Joanne. That's a whole other story. But as I was getting into the van, this one day, my ring finger on my left hand got caught on that seat. And as I was going in, it was bent all the way back to my wrist. And as I watched it, I said to myself, "Boy, I'll bet that hurts." And sure enough, It got all black and blue, and it got all swollen up, and so Joanne says, we got to go to the doctor. And we went to the doctor, and they took an x-ray, and we're sitting in one of those little rooms they stick you in. And the doctor came in with the x-rays in his hand, and he didn't really look at me that closely. And he said, well, Mr. Rushton, you got a fractured finger, and we're going to have to immobilize that finger. And I thought, oh, golly, where did you go to medical school? You've heard of child abuse and spousal abuse, and I've invented a new category that I call quad abuse. Let me give you some examples. Every morning, my wife and another woman get me ready for the day. It takes about an hour and a half. Then as they work over me, they talk, as women do. I've heard things that no man ever ought to have to hear. And then they get to the point where we have to decide what I'm going to wear for the day. And Joanne says, Jack, what would you like to wear? And I tell her, and then you know what she does? She puts on me whatever she wants. And I can't do anything about it. And the bad thing is that everything has to match. My oldest son Mike says, Dad, when you get ready to go out the door, you look like you're ready for preschool. And you know, before this accident, I used to get up in the morning and put on a pair of Levi's and a t-shirt, or I'd wear a suit and a tie, but I've discovered now that I wear outfits. I was on a talk radio show a couple of years after the accident, and the moderator said, Jack, what brings you the most peace? To believe that God brought the wave that broke your neck, or to believe that it was just an accident? And I said, you know, I probably haven't spent 5 minutes thinking about that question. I simply do not know why these things happen, and it matters little to me. I don't know why people get cancer and little children die, and all of the tragedies, man's inhumanity to man on this earth. I don't know why a lot of these things happen, but I know only one thing for sure. There is a loving, kind God, a Heavenly Father that cares about us as individuals. And with His help and His power, we can cope with any situation that life may bring to us. We can overcome our challenges and our problems with His help. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that the burden of paralysis literally has been taken from my shoulders, that I do not even feel it. And I'm so grateful for that. And this is the one thing I know. I thank you all so much for coming tonight.